What is going on, my friends, and welcome back to the Crypto Catch Up. Of course, your number one place to catch up on crypto. Now, for the very first time here on this brand new channel, what I want to do is I want to catch up on one individual crypto and kind of give you an update on what's happening. I think it's incredibly important, and I think it's something that people are just quite simply not paying attention to. And so today we're going to be taking a look at what's happening with Solana. We're going to catch up on some recent news, why what we're seeing behind the scenes is so important, and much more. And so with that said, let's not waste any more time at all, and let's begin with our catch up. Now, what we need to do first is we need to take a quick look at what is actually happening here with Solana's price, especially over the last few months, because I'm sure many of you know, especially if you do invest in the Solana, things have been rather quiet. We've been spending, and we've been in the same little time zone for 164 days, or this little price zone, sorry, for 164 days straight, leaving many people to be bored. A lot of people are saying that Solana's had its moment, it's had its peak, it's dead, it's not really doing anything. And although I think that's a bit of a crazy argument about something that's up over 1,500 to 1,800% over the last year to year and a half, I definitely understand why people are getting somewhat frustrated about the fact that Solana's price is not doing much. But something interesting is happening a little bit behind the scenes, and all you have to do is peel back the curtain a little bit to see what that is. Now, what we're talking about is the fact that currently speaking, what we can see is that Solana's TVL has been growing in the meantime that its actual price has been sideways / decreasing. Now, TVL, if you don't know, is the total value locked of a blockchain. And the easiest way to think about it, quite simply, is the total amount of assets that are locked or staked on that blockchain. And many people use that as a measurement of not only how safe a blockchain is, inherently, the more TVL, the safer it is, but also the bigger it is, right? The more TVL, the general bigger the blockchain is. It's kind of like the way my brain thinks about it, and tell me if I'm the only one. I think about it like a savings account, right? People who have the bigger savings accounts can sometimes just be a little bit more risk-free, have a little bit more money. I don't know if that makes sense, but it's the way I think about it. But overall, TVL is extremely important because it does show overall size of how many assets are locked and staked, and of course, that is very important. Now, what we can see here is that, of course, the peak, right? 2021's peak. We saw the TVL of Solana at $9.66 billion, almost hit $10 billion, while this price was around $240. And currently speaking, although we're not that high yet, we've been making some damn good progress. At its peak, Solana's TVL in March 29th of 2024 got right under $5 billion, while this price was right around 192, and it cleared $5 billion very, very briefly when Solana's price did clear over $200. But something interesting is happening with this price to TVL correlation over the last few months that I think is incredibly, incredibly important for Solana. What we can see here is that while Solana's price itself has been declining, right? While this pink line, which represents its price, has been on a trend in which it's setting in lower highs and has either been sideways or in a decrease, depends on how you look at it, its TVL has shown a different story. What we can see here is that as we have seen on its price again, high, lower high, lower high, lower high, its TVL has seen high, higher high, higher high, higher high. Now, you may say, well, why is there a difference? What does that mean? Well, quite simply, what that means is that even though Solana's price is somewhat underperforming and it's going somewhat down, a little bit more consolidationary, its TVL is growing, therefore its ecosystem is growing. And why is that so important? Well, what it's saying is that even in periods in which Solana's price itself isn't performing as well as it used to, we are still seeing the network growing and the ecosystem growing. And what that could intrinsically mean is that in periods in which we're seeing Solana's price not performing well, we can still see network growth. And we're starting to see the network itself become its own entity. It's becoming somewhat more self-sufficient and not completely relying on Sol's price. The issue is that oftentimes many blockchains, their actual growth, their network, their ecosystem relies on the native token's price. And if that is the case, in moments in which like this, the token itself isn't doing that well, the ecosystem stops growing, the revenue kind of dries up a little bit, and it makes it really hard for it to continue to grow as a company perspective, even in times of downturn, but not for Solana. And what this does is it opens up the opportunity for, and when Solana's price does start to do well, exponential growth to fill the market. Because you got to think about it. If Solana's ecosystem is capable of growing in periods in which its token's price is not doing well, think about what type of exponential growth can come as a result of its token price doing well. If Solana's price does hit $300, $400, $500, like I do think it's going to do one day, just how high do you think its TVL can go? Just how high do you think its ecosystem can go? That's the type of stuff that I don't think people pay attention to. And that is exactly the type of thing that will keep Solana relevant and be able to maintain those higher prices. If Solana hits $400, $500, $600, we're going to need to see it, and almost may rely on to some degree its ecosystem, its network, the actual chain itself performing incredibly well. And it'll be able to maintain those prices as a result of it, which is absolutely amazing. Now, if we do look at a few other metrics, things that are rather important, you can see this growth in other places. Of course, one of the main things that I really love to see is its derivative volume. And you can see that it finally picked up in 2024. And that is a part of the reason why its ecosystem is doing well. Now, not only derivatives volume, but we're also seeing aggregator volume. It did peak right back here, which is absolutely nuts. I mean, 3.34 billion, 3.6 billion. I mean, ridiculous, right? Absolutely ridiculous growth. But of course, aggregator volume doing well there. Now, in terms, obviously, as a result of all of this, look at the revenue. Look at the revenue that Solana is able to generate as a result of the growth of this ecosystem, as a result of the derivatives, as a result of the aggregators. The revenue goes up much higher, meaning Solana is making more money that's reinvested and reinjected back into the ecosystem, helping it become more self-sufficient, which will intrinsically help Solana's price not only be able to grow, but maintain higher prices. Now, the craziest thing about this, and why I think that this is also extremely important, is the fact that realistically, this growth has really just been Solana's network organically growing, because it's not been a ton of crazy good news. As many of you do know, we saw BlackRock actually come out quite recently and say that what they're looking for in terms of an ETF isn't Solana, and that they're probably not going to be applying for a Solana ETF anytime soon. Now, do I believe them? No, not particularly, but it's what they went out and said. Now, sure, we did get the Brazil news, in which Brazil came out and has allowed some ETFs to start, coming out. There's a second one that just recently got approved as well, which I thought was interesting, but that's not even that major. If we do, maybe if we even also go look at Google Trends on Solana, there's really not much. Sure, we've had these little moments and things are definitely looking better than they were in 2022, but Solana itself has not seen a ton of crazy good news. It's not seen a ton of major events. This is natural organic growth. And so moments like this in which the price is going sideways and it is boring and not doing much, being able to see that the ecosystem can become more self-sufficient and continue to grow and see many of these metrics continually doing better and better and better is absolutely impressive. And again, I think it puts Solana in a spot in which we could easily see this thing really starting to capitalize on that. And this is what opens up the door for Solana itself as a token to be able to capitalize on $300, $400, $500 in price. Market cap, clearly, I mean, hundreds of billions of dollars. I think that's the future. And so I wanted to kind of catch you up on those things and just let you guys know what I'm seeing from more of a fundamental perspective, because I do a lot of TA on Solana over on my main channel. Feel free to go check it out if you'd like. But guys, I really want your opinions. How do you feel about these types of catch-ups on the channel? Do you think that it's valuable? Do you think that we should continue to do some individual catch-ups, maybe once a week, like once a week for Solana, maybe Jasmine, maybe Render, in addition to our altcoin market analysis, our crypto market analysis? What do you think? Do you think this is something we should continue doing here on the channel? Let me know down in the comments below. And look, if you are new here and you are not subscribed, please do subscribe. This channel is not even 1 month old, and we're trying to get to 1,000 subscribers by October. So if you could subscribe, that'd be absolutely amazing, and I would appreciate it so much. But with that said, that is about it for today's video. Of course, I hope you guys did enjoy the catch up, and I can't wait to see you all in the next one. Peace out, everybody.